Yo, what's happening everybody, King GBL here, and welcome back to some Go Battle League. Today I'm going to be showcasing a very strong team that got me to Veteran. This is probably the fastest I've ever gotten to Veteran. I started off yesterday on around 2380, finishing off on 2501, and as a matter of fact, the leaderboard's updated today, and I believe I'm ranked 181 currently, with 2501. This team is super strong, and it's an original team that I came up with, meaning that if you start running this team, people are not going to automatically know what the team is based on the lead, and you should be able to have some success with it. So this team has some core breakers, it had some weaknesses, and it basically has pretty much one plan. Diggersby in the lead, it is there to hardwall the charger bug leads that you might be seeing, and it's basically there to try to deal with anything that's neutral. Both of our back Pokemon are very weak to electric, however Toxapex being extremely bulky, can hang in there, take a discharge, get off a sludge wave, and even if you want to, take switch advantage against charge bug if they allow you to land the sludge wave. So on this team we have one hard answer to electric, we have Toxapex which does very well into electric types, being able to put through a lot of damage or even take swap in certain cases, and then of course we have Pidgeot in the back. So with the Toxapex safe swap, we're baiting out the best answer to Pidgeot and looking to try and sweep in the back with Shadow Pidgeot. Now a few alternatives if you don't have some of these Pokemon. I have seen a few comments recently. I don't have Diggersby. If you don't have Diggersby, you probably could get away with something like Whiscash. Some of you might be saying I don't have Shadow Pidgeot. If you don't have Shadow Pidgeot, you probably could get away with something like a normal Pidgeot, or Noctowl, or some other flyer. Guys, even something like a Mantine, a Staraptor, just this sort of concept works very, very well. Now as for Toxapex, I'm not sure if you can really replace this Pokemon, just because it's so good into the electrics and it's so neutral across the board. It completely hammers Vigoroth, it's a super strong Pokemon in this cup. But as for Diggersby and Pidgeot, you can somewhat replace those with other Pokemon. With all of that being said, let's hop into the battles. If you enjoyed today's video, drop a like, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section down below, what are your goals for Season 19 of Go Battle League? For me personally, I've achieved a lot in this game. The one thing I've not achieved is 3500 ELO. I peaked at around 3350 the last two seasons. If I could make it to 35 this season, that'd be amazing. Let me know what you're trying to do this season, and if you're looking to improve at this game, I highly recommend joining our Discord, where you can stream and get some feedback on your gameplay. So picking up this battle right here, we have Girafarig. They too shield the swap, and they come into the Toxapex. Now because I've debuffed my defense, I want to get out of here immediately. I don't want them to do extra damage to me. They're actually holding onto their Giraffe, and I'm just basically hoping the Pidgeot up energy and up a shield can maybe look to sweep this game. Now they're ahead in energy on the Toxapex, so I'm pretty happy with this because I should be able to get a farm down. The opponent's over farming. I'm thinking at this point they may look to go for like 2 brines at the end or something like that. I'm just basically waiting to see what the opponent does. Whenever I can get the opponent in a dry position, I may look to pivot, but the opponent comes into a charge bug. Right here I've got a huge choice to make. I decide right here, I'm going to put the hope and faith into Pidgeot. The opponent still has 3 Pokemon alive. Can Pidgeot sweep this game? I need to throw the Brave Bird. I throw this on a CMP tie, meaning that I maximize my energy. I get rid of this here. I still have a shield. Now in comes this. What I need to do is make sure that I am going to be 1 away from the move. The opponent's using a 4-turn move, so I need to be 1 away from the Aurelius, meaning that I do not take any additional damage from Confusion. We do 1 and fro here on the Giraffe, and we do manage to take the full sweep with Pidgeot. Pidgeot is an insane sweeper, but you have to manage energy. In that situation, I realized that I needed to farm up 1 before I got to the second Aurelius because I cannot afford to take 1 more fast move, so that was perfect. In the next match, we do have an Empoleon lead, which is pretty uncommon, but I think a very cool pick for this cup. We're going to go for Scorching Sands. One of these will one-shot the Empoleon. Now, Empoleon gets to Hydro Cannon in straight 6. We get to the Scorching Sands in 6, 6, and then 5 in the third time round. So what I'm going to look to do is avoid CMPing the opponent, and on the third time round, I'm going to pause the turn, make sure that the opponent does not go for a catch, and basically look to take alignment. If the opponent comes into something that my back 2 Pokemon can deal with, I'm going to come out into the Toxapex, try to draw out a Mudboy, or try to draw out an Electric, just to make sure there's not something back there that's going to sweep my team. I need to have a check for it. Credilli, it's a bit of an awkward Pokemon for this team in general, but it is manageable with Pidgeot. We can take a Rock Slide. It is manageable with Diggersby. In general, we can take a move on that as well. We get off 2 brines, that does a lot of damage to the Quagsire. They're getting super low, and at this point I'm thinking, okay, Diggersby can come in here. We can still survive an Aqua Tail, I think, from this range. 2 Aqua Tails just about don't KO. The opponent's on Mud Bomb, I swap, and in comes Credilli. Now, I can definitely take this move. All I basically need to do is just full send the Brave Bird at this point. Forget about timing, we're just going to get this move straight off. Whenever you're just trying to get rid of something, forget about timing. Brave Bird goes through, doing insane damage to the Credilli. They live in 1 HP, that's perfectly fine. That means that they're not going to get a farm down on my Pidgeot, which is great. And yeah, this is perfect. We can build up to the Fire Punch. The opponent was getting pretty close to a move, so that was a very, very close match. Good game to that opponent, and as you guys can see, like, Pidgeot, just down shields can go crazy. So Whiscash is somewhat of a core breaker for this team. Now, I'm playing at very high elo, so the opponent's not an insta-throwing Andy. The reason is, I could have easily went for a catch, right? The opponent's predicting that I might go for a catch. This is a very dominant matchup for them. They do not have to throw straight away. I kind of have to stay in here, but I decide, okay, I think my best bet at this point is to try and save my Diggersby, keep it for later, try to draw out an electric. I have to try to draw out an electric with this team, and basically sacrifice the Toxapex at this point. I've got the opponent decently low, I can look to go for one more move, and because the opponent's non-shadow, I can still live this move. Now, the opponent is non-shadow, so I'm going to go for the hardest hitting move, which, believe it or not, is Sludge Wave. The opponent's going to commit to the farm down. This does a little bit more damage, and we do get the full farm down here, almost. Unfortunately, they live in 1 HP. It is super unfortunate. I'm going to come in with Diggersby. Because I've got a lot of energy, I'm going to shield up a Scald, pray for no debuff here. We're hoping and praying, and we've got rid of one of the core breakers of the team. Now, in comes a Pidgeot on the other side. They're up a shield. Not easy. Very, very not easy. Very not easy. We go for the ace. The opponent lets that through, which is great for me. I decide, okay, brave bird me daddy. The opponent obliges, and, well, this is getting awkward. The good thing is, I've got a million Fire Punches banked. The opponent's not dry, but they're pretty close to dry. If I can just land a Fire Punch on Pidgeot, this will pretty much take it out from here. The opponent comes into a Toxapex. Now, how can I win this match? I should be going for Scorching Sands immediately, because basically what I need to do is come out with energy. But I think I just realised here eventually, like, this is just a little bit too much for Diggersby to do. The opponent's going to IPS me, and I think I get this the Scorching Sands for range just top left, because, yeah, they can basically farm me down at this range. Hopping into the next one, we do get a better lead. So yeah, you know, that is a bit of a core breaker. I do recommend trying to play it out with Whiscash. If you do get a Mudboy in the lead, you sort of do have to play it out. Anyway guys, hopping into the next one, we've got a fantastic lead, and the opponent's actually staying in against Diggersby. This is an extremely dominant matchup for Diggersby. Of course, we have two Pokemon in the back that are super weak to Charge-a-Bug. We're super happy to stay in, and we're super happy that the opponent's staying in. Now, what I decided here is that if the opponent's staying in with a bad lead, this could be an ABA team. Because oftentimes, if opponent's running ABA, they stay in with any bad lead, just try to play it out as much as possible. And as you can see, the opponent's shielding. Because the opponent shielded, and we're at the X-Scissor here, I decide to catch the resisted X-Scissor on the Tox. The opponent comes into their own Tox, down a shield, and we're in a very good position here. Now I'm deciding, are they triple weak to Diggersby, or just double weak to Diggersby? I'm thinking it might be a Vigoroth in the back at this point. So, it is tempting to save the Toxapex, but we're not going to really save shields for the bulky Pokemon here. Shadow Pidgeot, it needs all the shields it can get. You have to basically shield everything with that Pokemon, so we're going to just save the shields, try to get this as low as possible, and then maybe look to get some sort of a farm down. Right here, because the opponent's ahead in energy a little bit, I'm expecting them to go for Double Brine. They do go for Sludge Wave. I'm going to commit to mine, and the opponent actually comes into Charge-a. I am so happy with this, because if the opponent comes back into Toxa, I bring back in my Diggersby. We've gotten rid of the electric type, but they actually come in with an Oranguru. I come into Pidgeot here. Thankfully, this is not Girafarig. Girafarig would be much worse. We insta-throw the Ace. By the way, if you use non-shadow, I think you should run Ace anyway. I try to go for probably a silly catch here. We do end up catching something here. The opponent goes for Foul Play, which will not knock me out. I'm going to go for Free and Throw on the Scorching Sands, which will look to pretty close to KO the Oranguru. Bang, that definitely will KO from there. We do get the attack drop, and we're looking to be in a great position now. I can shield a move off this, the opponent just about outpaces me here. The Toxapex left with energy, so I do need to keep that in mind. I just throw this move immediately, because what I was expecting the opponent to do was come in and snipe with Toxapex. However, the opponent did not do that. The opponent's trying to build up to 2 moves. Unfortunately for them, we just outpace them, and that's good games. So once again, when you're playing at these leaderboard elos, people do be counting a lot, they do be taking down teams and everything like that. I have never seen this team before, so I'm just thinking, like, if I run some original teams that are good, make sense, sometimes can be the key. You know, whenever I see a certain Pokemon in the lead, like, if I see Pelipper lead, I'm like, okay, well, it's just Diggersby and Charge-a-Bug. If I see a Toxapex in the lead, I think, okay, it's probably that team that I showcased at the beginning of the week. So trying to stay up to date with all the new teams, and trying to switch it up every so often, even if it's just switching your lead, or even if it's just changing around a little bit, it can make a huge difference. If you guys are looking to use something that's solid, with a strong closer and 2 bulky Pokemon in the front, I do highly recommend this one. Now, I actually allow the opponent to get me super low here. I get off a last second Brine. This is perfect. This is looking like hard RPS so far. We come in with Diggersby, the opponent comes into a Quag. I decide to go for Scorching Sands first, because we're 2 shields up. The opponent can go for Aqua Tail baits. Aqua Tails do like 50% to Pidgeot anyway, so it's kind of hard to like let too many of these go anyway. But yeah, the opponent full sends a Stone Edge. Absolutely love to see it. Thinking that I might want to make a call. Stone Edge will one-shot the Pidgeot, absolutely. If you're running Non-Shadow, you could just no-shield the Stone Edge, honestly, and they cannot mud-shot you down. However, they will start going for Aqua Tails after. I'm basically committing to CMP tie here, which of course I do win. And because we've got the Quagsire so low, they shield, that's perfectly fine by me. I can let the Stone Edge go. Come in with Diggersby. They actually go for Aqua Tail here. They go for a Snipe. I'm perfectly happy with this at this point, because Diggersby just basically comes in, over farms. I can take like 4 Mud Bombs, bro. This thing is so bulky. Build up to 2 moves, and that's going to be all she wrote. Mud Bomb number 1 coming through. The opponent will get off another one here. I'm basically going to build up to back-to-back. Fire 1 on the Stunfisk, fire 1 on the Quagsire, and that's going to be good games. So nice easy win there. We definitely take those when we're trying to climb. Now, in the next battle, we have a bit of an awkward matchup. Now, I can stay in and go for Fire Punches here, but I decide this time, because I played a match earlier where I stayed in with the Trevenant, the very first battle of the stream. You've seen that it was kind of a little bit awkward, right? Doesn't really work out that well for you. So I think you just swap straight into the Toxapex. We draw out the Kingdra, and as you guys can see, they're struggling to farm me down. I do get off a last second move. I am tempted to shield to get this off, but I look like I'm on exactly 1 HP. The great thing is I force the opponent to throw energy. We've got the opponent down a shield, and I'm going to look to go straight for the Scorching Sands. The opponent outpaces me to Octazooka, meaning that I can actually go for a bit of an overfarm here. This is a little bit suboptimal. I could have went for an extra like 3 or 4 mud shots, but I guess I don't want to let myself get into Seed Bomb range. I think that's the one reason I didn't overfarm there. Anyway guys, the opponent comes into an Obstagoon, and I'm so happy with this at this point. This is exactly where I want to see Obstagoon on the team. Well, of course I'd love to see it on Toxapex, but when I have a choice between putting my Pidgeot on Trevenant or Obstagoon, I'm definitely going to put it on the Trevenant. Now the opponent, like an absolute mad lad, is on Obstruct here. We get off a move, the opponent lets us get it off, which is fantastic. Of course we're hoping to debuff their attack, and I'm just going to get farmed down at this point. The opponent can go for Night Slash here, they can go for Obstruct, right? I'm expecting them to go for the Obstruct, and yeah, this is basically curtains here. I shield up the Night Slash, it hurts more. This can only be a Night Slash, by the way. They only built up to 5. Had they built up an extra couple, I might have thought, oof, this could be an Obstruct, should I shield it, should I not? But the opponent actually just built up to 5. So easy wins there. The opponent swaps into Trevenant trying to catch the move, and do not get it. Now in this matchup here with Lickitung, I do 8 and throw, which will leave them at a power whip basically. Scorching Sands coming in, we do not get a debuff on the first one. The opponent throws perfectly before I get to my next move. And because I'm Diggersby, I am not shielding this move. Diggersby is extremely thick. You do not need to shield just any old nonsense, right? Like, we can take 2 power whips, especially if we get the debuff. And yeah, they're not exactly going to let us down, so that's fine. The opponent finally does go for a power whip. One thing I realize in this matchup now is that maybe going for 1 power whip and 2 body slams is the most optimal play. As you're about to see here, the opponent actually gets us extremely low with this body slam, and with the extra lick damage, we do farm it down just about. We get off a dying Fire Punch on a Charjabug, which is absolutely huge for me. So unfortunately, our best answer to this Pokemon is down. However, this is where Toxapex is going to come in. You're going to see the power of this Pokemon, and why I'm using this Pokemon to bait out the Charjabug. As you can see, these jabs have added up quite a lot. Of course, we did get a Fire Punch through, which does about 35% of the Charger. These jabs alone have gotten the Charger down to like 30-40%, right? These jabs are really adding up. Now at this point, this is part bug, part electric. Wing attacks are going to be neutral. I decide here I'm up a shield. I'll just shield anything they want to throw here, and I'm going to look to try and sweep with the Pidgeot. The opponent ends up coming into the big bulky Toxapex and the 1-to-1s. We're up an absolute shitload of energy. I decide, okay, the opponent's probably going to no-shield this, but I can't afford to go for Brave Bird straight away, because they'll just jab me down. The opponent knows that, and decides to let it go. Now, I decide to build up to very close to 2 moves, meaning that if I Brave Bird, I knock out. The opponent decides to respect the move. What I do is under-tap the Brave Bird, because I do not want to take any more jab damage, right? I under-tap the Brave Bird, get this off immediately, and that means that the Charjabug's 1 HP, I can just wing attack it down, and I'm not taking, like I said, any additional damage. Now, the opponent swaps into a Kingdra. We don't have a direct answer to this, so I decide, okay, it's time to go for Scorching Sands, try to get a debuff, of course get the shield, get the damage, whatever the case is. And I decide here, I think, to respect the Outrage, because I don't want to get in a position where they can 2-shield farm me down, right? So I'm going to overfarm a decent amount here, up to close to 100 energy. I'm going to go for the Sludge, not going to mess about here. I possibly could have went for the Brine and farm down. I decided we're getting rid of it, and in comes Charjabug. This is great. Toxapex can do a lot of damage here. The opponent will get a lot of energy, which does not completely go to waste on Diggersby. Diggersby does great in this matchup, but of course, X-Scissors will add up after a while. So this is great. We've got it into almost a farm down range for both of our Pokemon. We basically need to hope that something good is in the back, and it's a Shadow Poliwrath. And this is exactly why you want Aurelius. If you guys are going to be running non-shadow, you do need to run Aurelius because the pacing on this Pokemon is a little bit awkward. Now what I do here is shield of course the Icy Wind. I'm going to try and CMP tie the next Icy Wind right here, which we successfully do. That's perfect, right? This Ace I don't think will KO. What I decide to do is go for a bit of an undercharge so they don't get a farm down. Unfortunately, they still do, but this game is just about over. They're going to need at least 3 X-Scissors to knock me out here. The Volt Switches are double resisted, and yeah, that's going to be good games. We make it to the Fire Punch, we fired off on the Charjabug, and that's good games. So as you guys can see here from the elo at this point, we're up to I think 2440 if I remember correctly. Yeah, 2440, nice 4-1 there. I only done 4 sets with this team yesterday, and again, like I said, 120 elo. Fantastically, the opponent comes into a Pidgeot. I decide to chip it here and come into Toxapex. In the future, I mean, you can do this is okay, but I think you should come straight into Toxapex. Now, similar to the last situation that we had, they're not going to Brave Bird first time. I'm Toxapex. Okay, never mind. Never mind, they are going to Brave Bird, but as you can see, that doesn't do too much damage. We can definitely take it very comfortably. I don't want to get debuffed, I don't want to take another one, I'm getting rid of it. And we're going to hold on to the alignment. Now, the opponent does me a great favour here coming into Quagsire, meaning that I get a very meaningful chip on this. Unfortunately, the opponent actually CMPs the Mud Bomb, so I'm not too sure why they're coming into Quag here. They probably could have got an energy lead if they wanted to stay in here, but we come into this. Of course, the opponent can look to go for Stone Edge. I'm going to respect it at this point, like, there's no reason for me not to. We've got a hard wall to the Charjabug. I'm like, okay, fine, Stone Edge me, big boy, whatever, go for it. They actually go for Aqua Tail, so the opponent's not on the Stone Edge moveset. And yep, it's time to basically hard wall this thing. I just find Diggersby to be a very nice lead, because the worst leads you can get with this Pokemon are, let's say, Flyers, which it is horrible. You come into your safe swap, you hope for the best, right? I didn't get too many Flyer leads in my elo. There are a lot of Charjabug leads. You may get some Mudboy leads, but against Mudboys, Diggersby's not horrible, right? Especially Quagsire, if it's on Mud Bomb and not Aqua Tail, you actually win that matchup. If it's Whiscash, you can take one, and if they don't throw immediately, you can get off 2 Scorching Sands, get it pretty low. Diggersby didn't really have a lot of terrible leads, and I really appreciated it here. Since we finally have a cop that Diggersby is somewhat meta in, I just want to keep using this Pokemon. It's one of my favourites here for sure. We come into the Pidgeot, we've got a bunch of energy, we go for Ace number 1, we're going to go for the next one on CMP tie, which is perfect, meaning that, yeah, we're basically maximizing energy, and we're forcing the opponent to throw all of their energy, and yeah, this is basically good games. We can just basically add pace here to the Aurelius. It got very, very close, another CMP tie right there. Good games to the opponent. Once again, Pidgeot just sweeping this cop. There aren't really a lot of Pokemon that are walling this. Steel types are pretty much non-existent in this cop. We've seen the occasional one, and in the next match we have a horrible lead. I come straight into Toxapex, the opponent comes into Bubble Jellicent. Now this is an extremely interesting matchup right here. I'm going to play this matchup in the ones, and you guys are going to be pretty surprised. All of my moves are resisted, right? We easily tank a Shadow Ball. Very, very easily. We're not even in the yellow yet, which means that we can survive one more. This is great. Now what I decide to do here, because they're not going to be going for Surf Baits, bro. Nobody goes for Surf Baits on this if you're anywhere decent, right? I go for Forward Throw on the Sludge Wave, and at this point, you're going to see here that the opponent's going to be basically forced to shield. We're jabbing this down quite a lot, they're doing no fast move pressure, and I can actually still take a Shadow Ball. Look at the health on this thing. If I get through the Sludge Wave, I can commit to the farm down on the Jellicent, so we're actually going to be forcing a shield off the opponent, giving us an energy lead with the Pidgeot, a shield advantage. I decide the opponent's going to make it to 2 moves, I'm going to shield this first one, and the opponent comes into a Kingdra. I'm going to do 7 and throw, which is 1 before they get to the Octazooka, and look for the Brave Bird. I don't like Brave Birding like this, but it's basically my only choice. Now the opponent done 1 before they left. I could have done 4 and thrown here, but I wasn't sure if they'd done 1 or 2. I just wanted to get that guaranteed damage, try to get this into Fire Punch range. The opponent does commit to the farm down. I'm in somewhat of an awkward spot. I can Fire Punch it, but the opponent will make it to 2 moves, so we go for 1 Mud Shot and the catch. The opponent goes for good timing here. They were getting very close to 100 energy, so they were inclined to throw. Now at this point, guys, we can take a Leaf Blade very comfortably. Diggersby's going to make it to a Fire Punch. The opponent goes for a catch on the Jellicent here. I do 4 and throw for good timing, just before they reach the surf. Perfect energy management here, and we get the perfect farm down as well. We can 1 for the Fire Punch, and the opponent concedes the match. In the next match here, we have a Lickitung lead. The opponent swaps out, and I come into my hard answer. I sort of regret coming in here a little bit, but I just thought like frenzies really add up. The opponent built up to 8, which I'm going to have to actually check the counts. I believe it's 8 for the Brave Bird. The opponent builds back up to it again, and I'm like, I can't double shield this, bro, I just can't. It is another frenzy that hurts a lot. So as it turns out, if I wanted to get the full farm down, that's what I would have had to do. So on my team, I've got 3 answers to Lickitung, right? I decided to go straight Aurelius here because if you look in the bottom right, my clock is almost available. I think it's going to be Trevenant in the back, like ABB Ghost, right? So I swap out, the opponent insta-swaps, and unfortunately Bisam will swap into a Poly, of all things. This is actually okay. We've got an energy lead, we get off the Scorching Sands. The opponent will have to go for a big Scald if they want to take me out here. We've got a hard wall to this in Toxapex, and Toxapex just absolutely obliterates Lickitung. I come into the Toxapex, the opponent immediately top lefts. Honestly, I respect that top left because that match is just so annoying for Lickitung. Lickitung, it really struggles. The opponent comes into Pidgeot, I this time come straight into the Toxapex. So let's see how this plays out this time. I'm fine with whatever they want to do. They go for Ace here, this is perfectly fine. I'm going to look to nuke it, guys, I'm not going to mess around, because they can look to go for Brave Bird eventually. I'm not trying to mess around. Brave Bird will come pretty close to knocking me out here. I'm thinking like it's probably worth a shield, it just should just go for it, right? I think I do live that move, so maybe it's a bad shield. That's perfectly fine, we keep a lot of health, and Toxapex is still very useful here. We can have a Mud Bomb, probably get off 2 Brines, and just basically put this into Scorching Sands range. So this is perfectly fine for me here. As long as I'm not getting this thing, like, I was really scared, like, I don't want to get this thing on my Pidgeot, because that's basically game over, right? That's why I decided to do what I done. The opponent snipes with Poliwrath, in comes the Pidgeot, we get the alignment we want. They do get the energy lead, we go for the CMP tie here. Basically, I'm going to shield this. My only goal here is to try to get this Poliwrath as low as physically possible here. That's all I have to do. Just get this low, and I think Diggersby with the energy should be able to deal with it. We go for the next Ace right away, and I think the opponent will look to go for Icy Wind right away. Do we live an Icy Wind from here? Definitely not, right? We're super low. Basically what I need to do here is just go for the Scorching Sands immediately. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think the opponent might have been at an Icy Wind. I guess they're committing to the Scald. I'm like, yes, let's go. We get rid of the Poliwrath, and that's just game over at this point. I think the only chance the opponent might have had would have been to Scald and get a debuff, and they might have had a chance. We're up to 2480, we've got one more set here, and in comes Kingdra lead. We don't have like the most direct answer to this, except for probably Toxapex. So I'm going to chip it, I'm going to dip it, I'm going to check for the electric in the back, bang, they actually let that through, that does a lot. And yep, they do come into the electric type. So this is the team working exactly how it's supposed to work, right? We come into the Toxapex, we draw out this, they discharge us, we let it go, and we're not even in farm down range. Now, I've got a very high ranked Toxapex, like a rank 19. If you're using just any old Toxapex, it's not going to quite do what this is doing. So for Diggersby and Toxapex, you do need some good IVs. We're going to come in, get a huge farm down with Diggersby. We absolutely love this farm down right here. This is perfect farm down range. We're not taking too many X-Scissors, and we're going to be able to get off like 2 Scorching Sands on the Kingdra. The opponent's an insta-throwing Andy. I'm like, you know what? No. I'm not letting you take me out with the Zuki Zook. We're going to shield up the Scorching Sands, and I'm thinking here, is this double electric or something? So I'm like, okay, Pidgeot time, and it is double electric, but it's Water Gun Lantern. Guys, you're about to see, Pidgeot does not care. Guys, Pidgeot does not care. Do you see this Pidgeot right here? Bang! It does not care. We're going to go for Aerial Ace right here. This is of course not going to knock them out. The opponent will be getting to the move though. Bang! We've got this Lantern down to like 5% health with my Pidgeot. All I need to do is come in, farm it the whole way down with Diggersby, go for 2 moves on the Kingdra, shield up whatever they want to throw here. The Kingdra is definitely not getting to a move this time, and yeah, we're basically chilling. We're going to farm up to 2 moves. I could have risked the Fire Punch. I decided like there's no point being risky here. No point risking it for the biscuit. We go for the Scorching Sands number 2, and that's good games. So this right here is the team working exactly as it's supposed to work. We draw out the electric, we farm it down with Diggersby, we get off the energy, and we look to sweep with Pidgeot. Toxapex lead, great lead for us. I decide to stay in and throw immediately. So it takes them 12 turns to get to their first move. It takes us 12 turns, but the opponent done a 1-turn swap, meaning that we're ahead by 1 turn. So we don't throw in good timing, we just throw straight away. I shield up the Trailblaze, and I stand to throw off a second move. I'm just thinking here, if I can get the opponent's shields all down, I can look to come in with Pidgeot and start doing Pidgeot things. Now, this is annoying. I decided to let this go, just because they have a pretty good answer to it. I don't really ever like doing this, but I'm just deciding like, this might be one of those games where it's like, time to let Pidgeot go early. Pidgeot's getting the night off here, and we're going to have to try and put in the work with the front 2 Pokemon here. So that's perfectly fine. We come in with Diggersby, we wait down the switch clock. The opponent goes for a little Chipper Dipper here. Love to see it. X's are coming in. We are getting decently low, so like, this is getting hairy. This is definitely getting hairy. Girafarig Safe Swap is not super straightforward. Now I'm thinking like, do I shield this? I guess I sort of have to. The opponent might be weak to this in the back. I'm thinking like, let's get 1 more Fire Punch off, and then basically swap into the Toxapex. At this point, the opponent has 1 more Volt Switch off of the move. I'm going to do 2 more Mud Shots. The opponent's forced to throw, and they go for the X's or on the Tox. So we're basically chilling here. As long as it's not a hard counter, and it's actually a Toxapex of their own. So yeah, this is basically game over. I think we're actually ahead by 1 as well. We win CMP. So yeah, this is just absolutely game over. Actually, in fact, I don't think I snuck that last time around. But yeah, this is curtains here. We can just look to go for these moves straight away. Sludge Wave coming in. I'm going to go for this next move. There's no chance the opponent's going to go for a catch or anything like that. We go straight for it. Now, I'm expecting the opponent to overfarm to make it really difficult for me to swap out, which I think is the correct play. So that's perfectly fine. My switch clock is up. I know that the opponent's switch clock is going to be up as well. So what I look to do here is build up. The opponent will try to make a catch, so I swap at the same time, get the energy with Diggersby, and I look to go for the Scorching Sands straight away. That's a really risky play, because the opponent could have just further move on my Diggersby, but I just knew that the opponent might want to try to do that. That's their win con. I win CMP. So I have to just put my hope and faith in the fact that the opponent knows what they're doing, and at these high elos, that's really what you have to do. Whenever you're playing at different elos, you have to try to understand the thinking of your opponent. That is really like it's such a hard thing to teach. It's something that you have to learn through playing against different players, and you know, recognizing the patterns, recognizing that the opponents are going to always be on track with energy. This like little notion like, oh, the opponent probably doesn't know what I'm on. No, bro, they're counting, bro. They are counting every single fast move. Not only are they counting fast moves, me and you, right? We're like, okay, they're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These guys are saying 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. Okay, he threw the 40 energy move. He said 8, 16. Like, these guys are hitting different, guys. So you just have to assume that they're making the best play every time. It sometimes gets to a point that because these players at the top have so much respect for each other, they expect each other not to make the best play because it's the best play. It's complete mind games up here. But anyway, guys, hopping into the rest of this battle here, the Toxapex is just too healthy for this thing. The opponent has a Toxapex of their own, and yeah, that's basically curtains right there. Good games, guys. We get a Veteran in record time here. Fastest I've ever hit Veteran. Absolutely delighted with it, of course. Last season was very, very difficult for me, so having a nice little leaderboard placement this season's just, it feels great, man. We hit Veteran early. I've been trying out different teams, and I've been changing my approach this season a little bit. I was getting very frustrated and kind of annoyed last season. I decided even to bank a 4th set here, and yeah, as you can see, we've got a pretty decent win rate going so far. But that's going to do it for now, guys. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, it's very much appreciated. And of course, now it's my job to try and think of another team. So stay tuned, I'm sure I'll come up with some nonsense for you to try out. But I think the teams I've showcased this week have been very, very strong. If you guys are not convinced about this team, we've just got a catalogue of teams this week. I think like 4 good teams now. And again, in our Discord, we are showcasing a lot of good teams in there too. Yeah, big thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you, everybody, for all the support, for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, people who do donations, super chats, become members on the streams. Really appreciate that. And big thank you to Donovan, who always sends me the research. It's all very much appreciated, and big thank you, everyone. I might stream later. I'm not too sure if I will or not, but stay tuned. I'll at the very least upload tomorrow. And until then, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.